Welcome back to the Views from the Gravel Out podcast. Today, we have a very special episode with a very special guest. Justin Jack, a journalist and news reporter for Channel 4 Buffalo. How are you doing today, Justin?
How are you, boss? I'm ready to talk the draft, man. We're under
Good.
a week left here. It's time to start ramping things up. We're getting down to it, so it should be a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun. A fun little exercise that I always like to do two mock drafts for draft season. I like to do what I would do and then sort of a predictive kind of mock draft. Today we're going to kind of step into the shoes of Brandon Beane and do what we would do if we had the GM job with the Buffalo Bills. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff that we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and you guys will be able to see what we are doing today. So this should be a lot of fun. So this is a new model I've been using. It's called Stick to the Model. Very, very fun model. So what we're going to do, I don't know about you, but I think probably we should sim to about, I don't know, pick 20.
Yeah, that works.
See what the board looks like. See if we sort of strategize from there. And we'll kind of do that for you guys. So I'm going to go to like pick 20, right around Seattle, Denver.
Yeah.
See what the board looks like. And we're going to go from there. So
obviously,
going as expected.
Bill Carter falls to 8. Oh my lord!
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. Okay, so we got here. So obviously you want more quarterbacks. So we got Hunter, Sanders went, Carter. That's crazy. Eight Carter's crazy. Kenneth Grant's off the board. Obviously a Bills fan favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nothing too crazy other than Carter at 8.
Yeah, it looks about chalk, to be honest.
Yeah, so I was gonna say there's probably a handful of players I'm gonna trade up for. Mike Green is one of them. He does I think fit my criteria as a trade up, and then maybe Walter Nolan, but it seems like they have him a little bit lower on his board. I kind of want to get your idea. Who are you looking at here? At pick 30. Where are you looking at right now?
Yeah, I've been.
Is there a position you want me to look at? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I've been penciling in cornerback in the first round, just because I think the talent warrants the position there. But I wouldn't be mad at a defensive tackle or a defensive end, but it would take the right player to fall. I'm just not a fan of using a premium top 30 pick on. And I do like Kenneth Grant. I think he's really good, and he has the upside to be a better pass rusher than he was in college. But if he is going to be that 2-gapping 1 to 2 down guy, I don't know if my favorite use of assets would be using a first-round pick on that. And we bring in Trey White yesterday, which is really cool. You've got Dane Jackson, but overall, I think it's just time to get younger at the position. So I've been targeting a cornerback. I don't know how you're feeling about that, but we can take a look at it.
Yeah, I think corner's probably right. Defensive tackle, I just think there's options in the second round. I've been looking at like guys like Joshua Farmer lately.
Yeah.
He's been someone that's popping up. Alfred Collins is a guy like I think the thing with Grant, I think a lot of Bills fans love him because obviously he's like this massive dude and he's great and he's got a lot of potential. I just think the tape was really inconsistent, right? Like the pad level wasn't great. Like there's a lot to it's not a finished product, right? And if you want a team, if you want to get to the Super Bowl, right, you want to get over that hump. You want more of a player that's ready to come in right away and make an instant impact. And I think this team's in position to do that with corner.
Sure.
So I think probably we should stay put here.
Yeah.
See how this board unfolds. Because like Trey Amos is probably going to be there. And, if a guy like Walter Nolan falls, we can consider that. Derek Harmon as well.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and let this run to 30.
Let's do it.
I don't have any problems doing that. So obviously Nolan just goes
Nolan
right
off
there.
The board right away.
Right away. Mike Green goes to 27. That's kind of crazy. Okay. So we got Tyleik Williams available for us.
Okay.
Like I said, Trey Amos is available. Chavon Ravel, Maxwell Harrison. So is there a particular player you like more than others right now? I'll go to corner first. Is Amos your guy? Because he's kind of my guy. I like Benjamin Morrison as well.
Yeah, Amos is my guy. I think he can do a little bit of everything, and I think there's less of a tackling issue there with like in regards to Maxwell Harrison. Obviously, Chavon Ravel coming back from the torn ACL from last year, so there's going to be a bit of a red flag on the return. Although all reports are indicating that he'll be ready for training camp, but it is always a risk taking somebody straight off of a massive injury like that. I think Trey Amos has all the intangibles that the Bills are looking for, right? He's got good size. He's got good speed. He's a smart player, and he's strong in zone. And if you're looking at a cornerback in first round, you don't want to spend it on a guy like somebody who would be strong in man press or has no experience in zone. Cough, cough, Kyrie Elam. But hey, here we are in 2025, and I think you got a chance to make the pick right here at cornerback at 30. I would be targeting Trey Amos. I know you said that's your guy, so how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good about Amos because, like you said, he is proficient in zone, but not only that, he's proficient in man. He's shown ability to do a little bit of both. And as a defense that's kind of dropped a few breadcrumbs this offseason, hey, we're going to make a little bit of tweaks to sort of bump into man a little bit more with the hires they made from man coverage backgrounds. I think he's able to do that. He's able to give you a little bit of both. And like you said, with run support, he's a willing and solid tackler. And obviously, Sean McDermott, based on all of his comments he's given us, tells us, hey, we want guys that are able to tackle or willing to tackle. And I think Amos checks that box better than probably anybody else on the board. So I like Amos. I was thinking about, I was going to say Derek Harmon, but I think he went. So Tyreek Williams, I like, but it's a little, he's still, like you said, the pass rush upside is not there for me. So I like Amos here as being the best player that's able to come in right away and start. So let's go Amos. Let's do it.
Send it.
All right. I will pause it, like I said, probably like 8 or 10 picks before we're up again, just to kind of see where we're at. So I'm going to pause it right here. So let's see who's available. Wow, Tyreek Williams still available. That's interesting.
And where are we at? We're at pick 46.
We're at 46. We're at 46 right now.
Can I take a look at the interior defensive line board at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and pull that up. So we got Williams, Sanders, Alexander, Collins. So there's quite a few names still.
Okay. I like what we're doing. I was thinking about a possible little move up for Tyreek Williams, but I do like some of the other options that are there. And I think he could still be there at 56.
Definitely. And I think even if you go a little bit further down, you got Omar Norman Lott, more of a 3-tack, but Joshua Farmer. There's plenty of options. So I don't think we have to trade up.
No, I don't think so.
But I look at who's coming up. So who needs a defensive tackle here? We got Green Bay,
LA.
Denver. I guess I don't know if they really need one.
Cincinnati
they got
needs
Atlanta.
All
right. They definitely do. So I honestly only project maybe 2 teams taking defensive tackle. So that would mean one of it. How it should end up being is we should get one of Alexander and Collins, and I would imagine that's a dream scenario for the Bills at
I do like
at
that.
56. So I say let it ride. What do you think? You want to make a move, or are you kind of content sitting at 56?
Nope. I like how the board's looking. I like how it's setting up for Brandon Beane here at pick 56. They're going to be able to get an impact player here, and I think there's a few positions you could actually go, but primarily at defensive line, interior. I like where we're at. So let it ride
for sure. So let's go. Let's go to 56. See what happens. TJ Sanders,
Williams off the board right
Alexander.
Away. Oh no!
All right. So that did not go well at all. Well, we did get Alfred Collins, so he is available.
There, I do like Alfred Collins. Yeah.
So that's one of my guys in this class, and I think the thing with Alfred Collins is you're not getting much from a pass rush perspective, but his run defense ability is so good. He's so good at the point of attack. His raw strength and everything, all that plays into it. And I think you're getting a guy who can come in and immediately play that one-tech position. If that's something the Bills prioritize, I know it's been sort of a tricky thing to project because the Bills really don't invest at that kind of position. It's ever since Star Lotulelei, quite frankly, they haven't put a ton on it. So realistically, do you think Alfred Collins is an option, or do you kind of see them going more towards that traditional 3-down player? Or what are you thinking right now?
It's kind of tough, right? Because if we're doing this as a predictive mock, I'm probably going to lean towards Alfred Collins, but I could see the Bills liking Joshua Farmer, although I don't know if this pick is justified here at 56 with Joshua Farmer. I think you'd be able to get him in a if they wanted to trade up into the third. We don't know yet. But Alfred Collins, I'd be very happy with it. He's one of the more athletic interior defensive linemen in this draft. The long arms obviously excite you. He can gum up the run game a little bit. So I'm fine with Alfred Collins here. If your first 2 picks you're telling me is Trey Amos and Alfred Collins, I'd be pretty ecstatic about that. I think that plugs in 2 major needs right away at defensive line and defensive and cornerback.
Yeah, the big thing is size, right? 6'6", 330 pounds. He's a big dude. So he'd easily slot in as the biggest dude on the defensive line. And that's something this team needs to have sort of that personnel that can go up against the Baltimores, the Phillies of the world.
Yeah.
And have that guy that can plug gaps. I like him a lot, and I think, if the Bills were willing to break their sort of trends, he'd be the guy to do it. So I say we take him. Are you on board here?
Yeah, I'm down with Alfred Collins, especially because, while we said he's not even close to a finished product as a pass rusher, he's more of that run stopping two gapper. I think he has the athleticism to potentially develop into a little bit of a pass rushing bag there. He'll be coming in learning from Ed Oliver, who we know who has great pass rush chops, two different positions of the 1-tech and 3-tech, but I trust, just the skill in the game from our defensive coach. Yeah, I like Alfred Collins here. And I think him slotting in, you probably have Daquan Jones leaving next year. I can imagine they keep him on contract for too much longer. And then hopefully you have a seamless transition for your future big guy in the middle.
Yeah. And I think even if you, like you said, that the pass rush might not be there for him, the projection, I think you can double dip quite easily. There's a bunch of guys here.
Yeah.
Jamari Caldwell is a big. I love Jamari Caldwell. Jordan Phillips is a freak. CJ West. There's a ton of guys. So I mean, obviously we can probably double dip later on. But yeah, let's go Alfred Collins and
I'm happy
go from there.
We got a quick turnaround here.
I know. So nobody really, I mean, other than maybe Xavier Watts, I would have considered at pick 62. This is an interesting one because obviously edge is probably the next priority, right?
Yeah. Oh, my two guys are there.
So
my Lord.
Who are you liking at edge right now? Who are you liking
I love Josiah Stewart's like my guy. Like I love him. I just listening to Michigan coaches talk. This guy is the toughest guy on the team is what they're saying. And if you're the toughest guy on the team for the Michigan Wolverines, that does tell me a lot. He's a transfer player, but he plays with this crazy power and he's productive and he's fast. It may be a bit of a tinkering to see where the Bills play him on their line, but I love him. If we're going towards a guy who may fit our system a little bit more, I would lean with Braden Swinson. Big fan of him too. I would take Stewart over him though, just because Swinson's kind of a fifth year with 1 year of production, which does worry me just a tad. But the tape doesn't lie. He looked elite last year.
I'm a big Braden Swinson believer. He was one of the first edge rushers I actually watched in this process, and his pass rush projection is elite for me. I think he's got a really good plan. He executes it very well. He's got a deeper bag of moves that he's able to show off counters and all these these crazy moves, and he's got the length to go along with it.
Yeah, he's a big dude
Stewart too. Yeah, he is. He is a big dude, and he's more of that Bills mold of edge rusher, sort of the longer, limbier kind of guys.
Yeah,
Josiah Stewart. I looked at the data, and obviously, like his pass rush, win rate and all that stuff was like really, really high, and probably I think his. Don't quote me on this, but I think his pass rush win rate might have been the best in the class.
It's up there. If it's not,
it was really, really good. So obviously he checks that box. The thing with Josiah Stewart is obviously he's really small, right? He's 6'1", 250. Yep. He's a smaller dude, but that natural first step, his bend, that's all there. My question is, how does that project to the next level? Is he going to be able to go up against those bigger tackles? Is he going to be able to handle that? And I don't know. It's just it's more of a harder, difficult player to project. So I'm not as high on Stewart.
Sure.
So we kind of find our first disagreements here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, are you comfortable maybe moving back a little bit, because we have a couple different options, right? So Uman Mellon's still on the board, so that's another guy can go. I'm not super high on Jordan Birch, but Josiah Stewart, you got Swinson. I like Kyle Kennard. Oladaggio is a guy that the Bills have met with. David Walker, I like a lot. So I think there's plenty of options still at edge. So we can go back and probably collect another pick or two, and that could allow us to take another corner, another defensive tackle, maybe another receiver.
Yeah.
So do you want to maybe explore the trades we got here?
Yeah, let's take a look. See what we got.
All right, so we got a couple different trades. We got New Orleans, San Francisco, Cincinnati. Let's see what Chicago. The best value is actually San Francisco. I'm going to look at what they got. So they're giving us pick 60 or pick 75 and pick 100 for pick 62.
Move up 13 picks. Okay.
So that's not terrible. New Orleans, for 9 picks, are offering us a third-round pick next year. I'm not entirely interested in next year.
Yeah, I'm not
next year's draft, especially for the purpose of this mock draft. Cincinnati, the same thing. Chicago also offering us. So I think San Francisco makes the most sense because we're getting the most value in this trade.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull the trigger on this?
Yeah, let's do it. I think one of the better ways to approach team building is to just get a lot of throws at the dartboard inside the top 100. And
more at bats for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you find yourself, you still have a second round pick. You picked Alfred Collins. It was just a luxury that we had the extra second round pick from the Stephon Diggs trade. I'm fine moving down here because it gives us, like I said, another throw at the dartboard, and it's a decently high throw at the dartboard. So yeah, let's pull
for sure. And we get another top 100 pick to go along with it. So I'm fine with it. I like the board way it is. So let's see how this works out for us. So we go ahead and make that move. Let's see who they draft to make that move. They take Umar Mellon. Wow. Right off the board. So let's see here. I want Swinson. Stewart would be pretty cool if he fell. And it looks like wow. He fell. That worked out perfectly. Wow.
It did work out perfectly.
All right, so now we're kind of at a crossroads because we both got both of our guys on the board.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with Swinson if you want to do
You're fine with Swinson?
Yeah. Okay. I like Josiah Stewart and I like Braden Swinson. I'm fine with either one of them, really.
All right. So we got both of them. I'm a Swinson guy. So we both like Swinson. One of us likes Stewart. So I think Swinson is going to be our guy here. So let's go Swinson at pick 75. So we trade back, collect another top 100 pick, and select Braden Swinson. I got to just see what's our next pick. So we're going to be picking at 100.
Stewart goes right after, too. Look at that.
Yeah, that's perfect. That worked out great. So our first three picks, just to catch everybody up, we went Trey Amos at pick 30, pick 56. Alfred Collins fell to us. We took him there. Then we went Braden Swinson at pick 75. And then we got another third-round pick coming up for us. And then 2 fourths, 3 more fifths, and 2 sixths. So
I'm loving what we have so far.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. This is great. This is going great. Yeah. Do you want to look at maybe receiver, or are you going to go double dip at corner here in round number 3? Where are you thinking right now?
My mind is at the double dip. They bring in Trey White and Dane Jackson's there for the depth. Mm-hmm. But my whole approach to this offseason hasn't changed no matter what moves we've done. It's just time to get younger at the position outside of Christian Benford. Rasul Douglas, man, if we'd ever see him in a Bills jersey again, thank you for your time because you were an awesome player for Buffalo. But it kind of all signs point to him maybe have playing his last down as a Bill. So now you have Trey Amos. I'm looking at maybe I like Za Frazier out of UTSA with those measurables and athleticism. Yeah. Jacob Parrish is nice, but he kind of projects as maybe a slot at the next level due to his size. Oh, but he's such a McDermott guy.
I love Jacob Parrish, dude. He's just so sticky in coverage.
He is,
He really is just like when you watch him on tape, the competitiveness just jumps out at you.
Yeah.
Because he plays with so much fire under him. And I think Sean McDermott would love that. And I also think I brought this up on a previous episode of mine. Taron Johnson is climbing up in age. So let's say he doesn't, transition into an outside corner. Maybe you have your heir apparent as your slot corner, and he can do that for you. And he can kind of learn under Johnson and play a little bit of outside and sort of be a useful chess piece until Johnson kind of leaves the Bills. So I like that idea. Za Frazier, like you said. I like Zy Alexander. And I also like Dorian Strong, more of a scheme fit because he's just a really smart corner.
He's got that length,
he's got the length. He's got really long arms. And I think he can be really useful as a zone piece for us. And he kind of fits the mold of a Christian Benford, right? Like not this super athletic dude, but just somebody that's really smart, knows knows how to play the position and is really good at what he does. So I'd say we have plenty of options. So if Parrish slides a little bit, right, do you want to consider a move up for him, or do you kind of just want to wait and see who else is available? Because you got a guy like Zy Frazier, you got Alexander.
Let's wait and see because I feel like there's a few guys I'd be happy walking away with here.
Okay. So let's go to pick 90, 95.
Yeah. Around there.
Right around there. Okay.
Let's see. Ooh, Will Howard of the Steelers. Charles
There you
Grant.
go. Tyler Shuck. Kyle McCord. Plenty of corners. Oh, Jacob Parrish just went. I forgot the pause.
That is ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean that's fine. Let's see who is available for us here. Za Frazier, your guy. Zy Alexander. Plenty of.
I even like Noel Williams too.
Yeah, I do too. The production is really outstanding with him at Cal. 6 foot, 199 pounds. He's got good footwork, good route recognition. There's a lot of options for us. I'm really mad that I did not pause at the time. So yeah, we're looking at corner here.
I even like CJ West.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's so
goodness.
many guys. This is great. I like CJ West in the 4th round for us as a fit because
Yeah.
I loved his tape. I really did.
He's violent, dude.
He's
He could,
so powerful.
yeah.
He's just great. I love CJ West. That's probably gonna be our guy in round 4. But let's look at corner right now. This could be another spot where we could trade down again. I don't
Yeah.
want to have too many draft picks, but I also know that there's plenty of corners here.
Mhm.
Let's look at receivers. Anybody fall? And we got Savion Williams, Ty
I do
Felton. I like
not
Kyle
love
Williams.
I like Kyle Williams, though, but I don't love that board.
I don't love him in round 3. I think more of a round 4 makes more sense. I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody's willing to pull the trigger in round 3. I'm not there yet. I don't know. Who are you looking at right now? Give me your thoughts.
If I'm looking at it from a broad view here, and I'm looking at the Bills trading potentially back into the 3rd round, I'm not trading back for any of those receivers that were just on the board. They don't move me that much enough to move up to where we're at right now. It would be for a corner because, like I said, we just have to address the position as much as we possibly can because it was not pretty last year. So yeah, I'd be down with Zy Alexander. I'd be down with Za Frazier. I'd be down with Noah Williams. I think it's a bit early for Dorian Strong, maybe.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I'm fine with any of those guys if you want to boil it down here.
So, what do you think about Quincy Riley? I want to hear what you think about him. The tape in 2024 wasn't great. The 2023 tape was a lot better. Where you kind of sit out with him, so we have kind of a general broad view of what we got here.
Yeah, Quincy Riley, he's a productive player for the Cardinals. Like you said, last year's tape wasn't better as good as 2023, but he's a solid player. He's ranked that high for a reason, right? He was sticky. He's a smart player. He can move. The ball skills are there. I think it could be a little bit better, but the ball skills are there because the production wasn't as great as it could have been. But we love that guy in this household over here. So I'm down to probably Za Frazier, Quincy Riley, or Zy Alexander. If this was the board, I'd probably just resort back to corner or defensive line again. Double dip.
I say we go Za. I say you like you said, the traits are there.
Dude,
he's got the athleticism. 9.3 RAS, by the way. That's and that just checks the box. I think at the position, I said earlier in the offseason, we needed to get more athletic at the position. And it's nothing against what they currently have. Christian Benford's an elite lockdown number 1 corner, but I think opposite him, you're looking for a different skill set, right? You want somebody that can match up against Xavier Worthies of the world and not get toasted on 5-yard slant routes in the AFC Championship game. You want guys that are able to help out and pitch in and do different things for you. Za Frazier's that guy. And he doesn't have to start right away, right? We already took Trey Amos. You have Tre'Davious White. And now you've built out your corner room with a mix of athleticism and guys that also – like a guy like Amos who can step in right away. So let's take Za Frazier here.
Oh, I love
go
that
with him.
Because you pick Amos, who I'm not saying he's a complete finished product, but I think his transition to the NFL would be a lot easier than Za Frazier. And what I like about the Za Frazier pick is, okay, if he hits big, you just got yourself a project player that turned into a home run kind of player. You know what I'm saying? So you get kind of a solidified player in Trey Amos, plus that upside of Za Frazier. If he can get coached up, he's 6 foot. Well, I think 6'3", 6'4", 6'2". He's a big guy.
He's big. He's a big dude.
He can move. I love that pick.
Yeah, I like that pick too because you're also improving your batting average just because you have 2 more at bats, right? And this is a very important position. The Bills have really lacked the true depth besides those couple years of Rasul Douglas at corner. It's been usually like Dane Jackson or Levi Wallace who. Nothing against them. They were fine at what they did. They just provided a certain floor rather than that ceiling you're looking for. With Frazier, you're more likely to hit that ceiling. So I like that pick a lot. So we were talking about CJ West, right? I love CJ West here as a potential fit for the Bills. Some people might view it as a little bit early, but like I said, his tape, and we already took out for Collins. We're building the trenches here. We're adding some dogs, and he is no exception to that. So obviously, like it says here, you could see a scouting report for the people that are watching on YouTube. Possesses the strength to anchor against double teams, recess the line of scrimmage against the run game, good hand usage, levered awareness, sheds blocks, and he's got a good motor. So
9.2 RAS.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what the Bills love. They love that high raz,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I also like a guy like Jordan Phillips.
Yep. Former
I think
wrestler.
he's more of a
Former wrestler.
projection. Yeah, former wrestler. That does fit the Sean McDermott pipeline. And then Jamari Caldwell, I like as well.
I
But
love Jordan Caldwell, dude.
I think it's a little early, and maybe we can just go with 3 defensive tackles and say screw it, but and go crazy. But I'd say CJ West. You okay with that right now?
I'm totally down with CJ
All
West.
right.
That's my guy,
Alrighty.
man.
Yeah, me too. I love CJ West. Indiana football, they had some really fun players, and he was right at the
Violent
top of my
player,
list.
man.
So we're gonna take CJ West and go from there. So we don't have
That's some
so
value. 109. He's gonna go higher.
132. I'm just gonna let it ride here.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams unfortunately does go. I was thinking about potentially going with him, but all
He's
right.
gonna go higher
So
than people expect, by the way.
yeah, definitely. So we got Jalen Lane. We're looking at receivers, right? So Jalen Lane, all these guys are just too early for me. I know you like Elijah Badger a lot.
Yeah.
We could probably look at him a little bit later. I like Isaac Tesla a lot. Kobe
Yeah. Dude,
Hudson, I think, is really underrated too. Really,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
good
Dude
route
can ball,
runner.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good player. Um, Maybe you look at linebacker. I don't
I
know,
like
probably a
Jeffrey
little bit
Bassa.
early. Look at safety. Sebastian Castro, Malachi Moore. I think he'll probably
Caleb
go a little bit
Bransaw is a
early.
guy that I kind of think would fit into our defense.
Yeah.
Too early for him at this point, but he's kind of a project player.
Yeah.
But you see it right there: the speed, athleticism, fluidity, right? And then
Mhm.
that's the two thing. And the thing I like about Ransaw is he has positional flexibility, right? If it doesn't
Yeah.
work out at safety, you can try him at corner. If it doesn't work out at corner, you can try him at safety because of that athleticism. And there you have it again. I know I hate to keep referencing it, but it is relevant. 9.7 RAS.
Yeah, it is.
Um, I would say I would have an eye on him in the later rounds. But
Okay.
as far as this pick, let me see what the top available is at the board here.
All right. So top available is what you're looking.
Hmm.
It's rough. It's not great, frankly.
Yeah, I don't love it.
I don't love it either.
Where we know where my eyes went. I think this is not completely out of the range for Dante Thornton from Tennessee.
Yeah.
That kind of tall vertical guy over there for the Volunteers.
Yeah.
You just see what this guy. This guy flies, man. He's nuts.
Mhm.
And again, I don't think 6'5" is accurate. He's probably more like a 6'4",
No.
6'5" would be
I was gonna
nuts.
say.
But yeah, you see it right there. The deep speed is phenomenal. He tracks the ball well. But right now he's kind of like a 3-trick pony. He's kind of like a
Right.
slant, vertical, and like hitch curl kind of guy. But we're not asking the world from him. We're just asking for him to stretch the
No,
field.
yeah, definitely. And
And that's what he does.
that's what this offense desperately needs, right? Like I think Josh Palmer can do it to an extent. It's more schemed up. Whereas Dante Thornton, he's just a straight go and burner. He's going to
Yeah,
run
he
by,
is.
he's going to run past you, and he gives you that threat and that element. I think, obviously, this offense, you really don't need to add anything to it. Pardon me. But that speed element is relevant because it just gives you sort of a changeup in your
Yeah.
pitch mix, right? Or a curveball. It gives you the ability to tap into Josh Allen's deep ball, which I don't think they've done enough. And like you had mentioned already, the RAS is 9.8. I do think
Crazy.
that height's a little bit inflated. I think
Yeah.
college teams lie all the time. That's no exception. But the route tree obviously isn't complete, but I think you're getting a player here who can sort of be your John Brown, be that guy that can run past you. And like I said, the board isn't great right now.
Mm.
Um, I was thinking maybe edge again. I like Hugh Robinson, Tyler
Yeah.
Barron
I like
Sorrell.
Power Island too, but I don't know if he fits the Bills really.
Yeah, I don't know. Tyron Ingram, Dawkins, sort of a versatile player that can kick inside, sort of be your Dwayne Smoot, is an
Super
interesting
athletic,
option.
man.
Yeah, very athletic dude. But I think we go Deontay Thornton here or Dante
Yeah.
Thornton
Yeah,
and just go with that.
I'm totally game with Dante
All
Thornton.
right, we're gonna go Dante Thornton.
He doesn't need to see all these snaps in year one, but what he
Yeah.
could do just and off the simple fact of his speed and catching and ball tracking alone, he'll be an asset year one, just playing on the kind of an outside vertical role for the Bills.
Right. And he can sit back and learn, right? He doesn't have to play a ton of snaps. He can
Yeah.
sort of take that Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir backseat where he can play some snaps for you, but he's
Yeah.
also learning. And I think I go back to Gabe Davis's rookie season where the Bills had multiple veteran receivers ahead of him, and he kind of had a really good season because he was
Yeah.
able to learn the position and he was able to
Right.
grow as a player. And obviously that earned him a second contract. It wasn't from the Bills, but obviously got him paid. And I
Yeah.
think that you can kind of take that same avenue with Dante Thornton. So let's go ahead and take him
Let's do it.
and see how it falls here.
I love our haul, by the way, so far. Like, if this happened on
me
draft
too.
night, like
I know. I'd be over the moon. I mean, especially with those first three picks.
Jamari Caldwell.
Oh, no. So
it's okay. I mean, we already have 2 defensive tackles.
Yeah, I know. So we're at 169. We're at 154. I wouldn't be opposed to taking another defensive tackle, but edge is probably someone I'm looking at. Q Robinson is interesting because he just didn't play a ton at Alabama. And obviously, like, he's more of a projection, but he's sort of those swings you take on day 3 of the draft.
Sure.
And, played at Alabama. It's kind of hard to get snaps there to begin with, but fun player. I like him. Maybe running back. I know it's a little early, and I know James Cook's still technically under contract, but you consider, I think, probably wait later. I know a guy like Jaden Blue, who the Bills met with, would probably be a fun little option for us later on.
Why is he ranked so low? Oh my goodness!
I know, right? It's crazy. He's probably going to go in like round 7 in this, which is crazy. I do like RJ Mickens out of Clemson.
Yeah.
I think he's more. I think he gives you a higher floor certainly than Ransaw, but
the zone familiarity is there too.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking day 3 of the draft. You're looking to take swings, so I'm probably eyeing Ransaw with this next pick. How about you? Are you looking at a guy like Ransaw? Are you looking at linebacker potentially? Cody Simon's a guy I like.
I do like Cody Simon. I like Jeffrey Bassa. I think Smile London has a decent projection, but again, he's a projection. He's not a finished product. Still developing play recognition. Let's see. Devin Neal, by the way, 138 would be crazy, but
that would be insane.
I don't really want to target a running back here, but the value would be pretty cool.
I love Devin Neal. Love him.
Dude's gonna probably
he's gonna be a beast.
He's gonna become a feature back for somebody, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm cool with that. I think I'm cool with Ransaw.
Okay. So we have a ton of picks anyways. We got back-to-back. We got 173, 177, and 169 and 170. So let's just let this play out. We have a ton of at-bats coming up here. So let's see. Kobe Bryant goes to 157.
I like Kobe Bryant.
Antoine Powell-Ryland. Oh, Ransaw went to the Eagles. Oh, that sucks.
Howie Roseman.
That hurts. Damn it. Howie does it again. And he takes a Rondé Gadsden, too. That's such a good Jordan Hancock, Ransaw. That's a great trio there. Texans take Devin Neal, really good pick, and they go Riley Leonard as well at quarterback. I mean, I talked about Mickens as a potential fit, and he doesn't sort of have the same upside as a guy like Ransaw, but I think he, like you said, the RAS, it's good enough. The range is a little concerning, especially because that's kind of what I desire the Bills to get out of the position. I think linebacker is probably what I'm going to look at. I was going to say Jeffrey Bassa, as someone you mentioned earlier, sort of an athletic dude, not super athletic, but athletic for the position.
Yeah.
And he's developing. And I think, obviously the Bills are set at linebacker, but Matt Milano's climbing up in age. Dorian Williams he's good, but he's not like the superstar level player yet. So I definitely think you need to improve the depth of the position. And Bassa's a start.
Something to take into account here is Bassa had a good week in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. Yeah. I know historically the Bills love guys from the Senior Bowl. They just do. Again, that the athleticism isn't where you might want it to be, but the tape tells everything, man. He's an electric blitzer at the very least, right? His game's not done developing, but I'd be happy with him. I'd be happy with Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. They did meet with Teddy Buchanan from Cal.
I know.
I don't know.
I love Teddy Buchanan. I am a big believer in his coverage ability.
Yeah.
I think he can really project at the next level. Now, I'm not going to go out and I don't like making comparisons, right? But stylistically, he reminds me of a little bit of Fred Warner. And I just see the vision there. I know people are going to get carried away with me saying that, but it's more of a stylistic. Yeah, I know, right? It always happens. What do you think? He's a 7th round pick. He's a 6th round pick. He's not going to be Fred Warner. But I think, especially this pick, it's a little early for him because, like I said, he's more of a projection. Jeffrey Bassa is a guy probably can come in and be a backup right away.
Yeah.
And Cody Simon, I'm actually more high on here because I think he has the ability to defend the run.
Yeah.
And obviously, it mentions here in the last line, his leadership, communication skills. Got to be able to communicate in the Bills defense.
They are going to value
that does a ton of pre-snap communication.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a higher RAS. He ran a pretty solid 40, a 4.5 flat for a linebacker. It's not too bad. So I like Cody Simon. Are you okay with taking him here?
I'm game with Kobe Simon. You know,
Right.
like I said, I think both him and Bassa have their best football ahead of them. So
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
totally fine with that.
I like Bassa, national champion, going to the Bills here, and we're gonna come up again with a couple picks here. So let's see who just got taken to kind of give us an idea. Oh, we're back to back. That's right. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
So 170, and then we got 2 picks, and then we're up again. So we have a ton of picks coming up here. So we got
Let's look at
yeah, 4 picks left.
These are probably best available player situation for the
Yes,
rest of the draft, most likely.
So let's take a look at the board.
Brashard Smith.
Gordon.
Brashard Smith. It's Brashard Smith. That's my
guy.
Oh
my gosh. I love Brashard Smith. There's a ton of running. This running back class is one of the best running back classes I can remember.
It's talented, man.
Even a guy like Corey Kiner out of Cincinnati, I mean, there's just a ton of dudes.
I like Corey Krosky-Barrett too. Oh my goodness.
It's such a deep class. I mean, I feel like we got to take one of these dudes. It's just too good of a class to not take one. At least a dart throw, right?
Yeah. So what is our next pick after this one?
So it's coming right up, right? So let's see. Let me pull that up real quick for us. So we are pick 170 and 173, and then we got 177. So we got 3 picks in the next 7 picks. So
why don't we take a look at the best available, and then we have 3 picks later, and maybe we'll target the running back there.
So a guy I like a lot is Holland Pierce.
Yeah,
because he has the size, 6'8", 340 pounds, and obviously you got your 2 franchise tackles, right?
Yeah.
But here's a dude. Maybe you talk about what the Eagles do all the time. They have that growth mindset, and they sort of did the same thing with Jordan Mailata. And I know the Bills took Travis Clayton a year ago, but this kind of fits into that mold of a dude that's just freakishly big, and it just takes up so much size. And you get him to work with Aaron Cromer, maybe there's something that could happen there. And I like him
Pierce,
as a fit.
Holland Pierce kind of reminds me of DeJuan Jones from a few years back, if you remember.
Yeah.
Just massive human beings. And the cool thing is, a lot of times these bigger human beings don't go as high because they're worried about the athleticism. Can they work against the bend? But the thing is, a lot of times these guys kind of pan out. I mean, if you take a look at what's the guy from the Ravens name? The right tackle, Daniel
Falalele. Yep.
Daniel Falalele was a kind of a mid-round pick. He turns out to be a multi-year starter for the Ravens. I know you said Mailata too. He was a bigger dude. And you got Holland Pierce here at 6'8". I wouldn't have had to pick at all.
I wouldn't mind it. A guy earlier in this draft who went is Ariante Ursere from Minnesota. Same kind of deal, right? Yeah. Big dude, and people question whether he's going to handle speed and bend at the next level. But like you said, I think those dudes project a lot better because size is not something you can teach.
Size is not nothing at offensive tackle,
right? Yeah, especially with today's guys, freak athletes all over the place. Guy like Spencer Brown, who's already on the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very technical position. Don't get me wrong. I just think size goes a long way.
Yeah.
I look at a guy we mentioned earlier. I didn't mention him actually. Joyner.
I like Joyner.
He's an interesting player. He's a smaller dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, he's a bigger dude. I'm sorry. 6'5", 265. He looks. It's weird. He's got this weird build because he looks smaller than he is. So I think that might be a little bit inflated. But he's got that really good first step quickness.
Yep.
I was looking at tight end too. I like a couple of these guys. So I like Luke Lackey from Iowa a lot because I think he's got a really. I know it says in a weakness here his route precision needs refinement, but I saw some clips of him working at Mobile. He's got real upside there. And then even a guy like Jackson Hawes, who I think is probably, for my money, the best blocking tight end in this class. And we talk about today's age and the landscape of the NFL. Having a guy that can dominate as a tight end, as a blocker. We know Dalton Kincaid isn't a great blocker.
Right.
And, Quentin Morris, don't correct me if I'm wrong. He's not on the roster right now. So I think you look at what you got in Dawson Knox. He's a good blocker, but this gives you a really, really good blocker.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of fun things in 12 personnel. So I think probably we could take him with one of these picks.
Yeah.
But we talked so much about Holland Pierce. I feel like we could just almost have to take him.
Yeah, I like Holland Pierce here.
Yeah.
I like it.
Let's go Holland Pierce.
With the Bills, I mean, there's no path to playing time at tackle right now. There just isn't. Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins are one of the better tackle duos in the NFL. Holland Pierce can come in as sort of a project player. Like I said, the size is there. If somebody goes down, we know Bean likes to throw at least one dartboard at the offensive line every draft. So
yeah, every draft.
It's just inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
These guys love the trenches, so I'm totally fine with Holland Pierce here.
Yeah, let's take him and go from there. And so here we are. And I know your guy Brashard Smith is available, and I don't want to take the risk of him not being available with 177 because you got Dallas, who I don't know if they've taken a running back in this class, but Seattle they could probably use. They got a couple guys, but Baltimore maybe as backup behind Derrick Henry.
Sure.
I think Brashard Smith is fun here because he has the speed, right? 4.39, 40-yard dash. I think he fits into the system, and like I said, it's hard to see him playing right away. But in a year where James Cook might not be here next year, this is a guy who can come in and play that role. And I talked about in my last episode where the Bills need at the running back position. You have Ty Johnson, who does a lot of great things. Ray Davis, he can kind of fill the Cook role. He might not replicate that production, but he can certainly play the role as your speedy, juicy, juiced up running back that can use that speed and quickness and beat a corner to the outside. So I think he makes a lot of sense here. What do you think? You thinking Brashard Smith here with this pick? I know he's your guy.
Yeah, Brashard Smith is just my guy. I mean, this is a guy who used to play receiver. He's been playing running back for a short amount of time, really. And you already see him kind of lighting up the ground there with SMU. Big season for them. Brashard Smith, and it's funny you bring up James Cook because my pro comp for Brashard Smith is like James Cook, like a watered down James Cook. I don't think he has the dynamic ability that James Cook has. I don't think he's as good in between the tackles as James Cook, but the running back position, it's uncertain with Cook. You've got Davis, you've got Johnson. Brashard Smith, I don't know if there's a time to have him on the field in 2024. But again, he's a talented player. You're kind of just taking shots at the board right now. And I love his versatility, man. He can catch the ball. He's got elite speed out of the backfield. He can even go in the return game if you really want him to. I think Brashard Smith has Bills written all over him.
And even like you said, the returnability is very important. And Brandon Cotterton was great for the Bills, but he can be sort of that natural kick returner with the true speed he has. And I think he definitely can. You can see the projection as making the roster at the 53-man roster with his speed to at least play some special teams for you. So I mean, I think this is a guy who's going to make the roster and potentially be your guy later on. So let's go Brashard Smith here, and there we go. Awesome. So Jeffrey Bossa is still on the board. Like I said, I was looking at tight end, but there's just so many guys. I'm willing to wait a little bit. Interior offensive line is interesting because you talk about a guy like Connor McGovern coming up.
I like Connor Colby too. Connor Colby's good.
I like Seth McLaughlin out of Ohio State. Jake Majors, like all three of these guys. Drew Kendall, Garrett Bellinger.
Lampkin.
Yeah, Willie Lampkin. He had some really impressive tape at the Senior Bowl.
Dude, man.
He was fun to watch.
He's a dog.
He is. He's got that dog in him. Maybe that's a double dip on, honestly. But you took Cedric Van Pangranger last year, but you have Connor McGovern expiring, David Edwards expiring. This is certainly a position that you can look at. Tight end, obviously, I mentioned Hawes.
I like Thomas Fedone the second from Nebraska as well.
From Nebraska, yeah. I just like Hawes only for the fact that he blocks his ass off.
Yeah.
RJ Mickens is still available. I think we probably will wait a little bit longer. They have him at 204, and we are at pick. Let's see, we are at pick 177, so probably a little bit early for him. I say we go. I don't know. It's tough. What are you thinking right here?
Take a scroll down the board because really, I know we like to go best player available. Oh, Isaac Tesla is still there.
That's
him at this point.
I love Isaac Tesla, and your receiver room would be okay. We already took Dante Thornton, right? So your receiver room will be Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Dante Thornton, and then Isaac Tesla. I think as your 6 guys, that's not bad.
Let's take Tesla here, man.
Let's do it. Look at the Raz, 9.9. How can you not? And obviously he's got the size. He's got the thing with the Tesla. He's got the size, and like he has the projection as somebody that's going to be a decent route runner at the next level too. Yeah. So I think he offers a level of honestly like a pretty solid floor for a player this late in the draft.
Yeah,
and I think potentially he could be somebody that could play special teams for you as well, right? With his size, he can be able to run down the field, cover, and yeah, absolutely. So I think he's somebody that can make the roster for you. We're talking about guys that can make the roster. You want to be able to plug holes on cheap rookie contracts.
Yeah,
this is a guy who can do it. So let's take Isaac Tesla. I love it.
I love that, man. That's a great pick.
I'm looking at probably tight end with this next pick or interior offensive lineman. Honestly, we could probably make 2 more picks because I know we got 1 more pick left, but I would like to leave with a tight end and an interior offensive lineman in this draft.
Sure.
All right. So we got 206 here. And I know safety.
Was on the board. I like Cam Jackson out of Florida.
Yeah. Big, fun player. Really good defensive tackle for Florida. Like I said, I want to leave with an interior offensive lineman and a tight end. So let's go sort by both of these positions. So they got Fedoni available. Lampkin, I feel like we got to take Lampkin. We just talked about him so much.
He's totally just a
dog, dude. He's such a dog. And I know people are going to look at the RAS and be like, oh, you guys take high RAS players the whole draft.
Yeah,
but this dude, literally right here, competitive toughness. He is just tough. And he's somebody that he's got that. He's just a tough player. And like I said, at the Senior Bowl, he displayed sort of that ability to go up against guys that are bigger than him, guys that might be stronger, faster against him. And he hung in there. And that is something that is I value. And I know I like interior offensive linemen. I honestly think Alec Anderson's probably going to be your next starting left guard for the Buffalo Bills when David Edwards leaves, maybe in free agency. Lampkin could be your guy behind him and sort of learn. And like I said, the luxury of having a good offensive line coach plays a lot. It's huge. So taking swings at offensive line is big. So let's take Lampkin here. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, dominated. I would say he had a really good week in Mobile. He played really well against some of the top competition in this draft. But again, we're taking a look. It's the end of the 6th round at this point. Like you're just trying to take players who develop well into your system. And like you said, you've got Aaron Cromer, offensive lineman, and he's just a good fit, man. He's a dog. Yeah. And let me get this straight. Like Willie Lampkin, if he does succeed, will be the ultimate outlier.
I know.
But I'm totally willing to take a shot on the character and the effort that Willie Lampkin provides.
Yep. Let's do it. Willie Lampkin, because I felt good about that. I think it went better than honestly I expected it to. Because
what a great haul!
It was such a fun. I love doing this because it's such a fun exercise. Because
it is, man.
You get to learn about what you like and what you know about these players and who you tend to like in these situations, and you kind of learn a little bit that way. So here's our draft haul. So just to recap, everybody, I'm going to go over all the picks we made. So obviously at 30, we went Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. Pick 56, we went Alfred Collins out of Texas. Traded back and went with Braden Swinson at pick 75. We took Za Frazier at pick 100. 109, we went with CJ West out of Indiana, defensive tackle. 132, we finally went receiver. We went Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. Went linebacker at pick 169 with Cody Simon. Did something a little bit different, and not a ton of mock drafts you'll see do it. We took offensive tackle Holland Pierce, pick 170. Went with your guy Brashard Smith at 173 at SMU. Isaac Tesla, which I thought was really good value at 177, and then Willie Lampkin at 206. Justin, how did you think we did? Considering our first mock draft together, a lot of stress involved in this. How do you think,
it, man? I think so. I think we did. Like I said, if this was our draft haul come next week, like I'm really happy with this, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of exciting guys here. There's guys that can produce probably on day one. They're going to be in the lineup like Trey Amos and Alfred Collins are going to see significant playing time. Braden Swinson's there. And I do expect personally Javon Solomon to take a little bit of a step here. We'll see how much it actually ends up being, how big of a step, but they're going to ask him to play a bit more here. So you get another option and another pass rusher outside of, who you already have. CJ West, the violent interior defensive lineman from Indiana, dude. Hand usage is there, power is there. And I've listened to some interviews from him. I just like the way he thinks. He's got a great mentality. Dante Thornton, and this is what I kind of like too. You've got Dante Thornton here at 132, and then Isaac Tesla, they're kind of almost a similar mold there. Yeah. So if one or the other doesn't work, you kind of get the guy that you can slot in and make your vertical outside boundary threat, right? So you've got a few tosses at the dartboard. We walk away with one of my guys in Rashard Smith. Cody Simon's there for depth. You get the size with Holland Pierce, and then Willie Lampkin's just our guy. So I'm very happy with this haul. I'm not sure if they pick this many players come next week.
No, it's hard to. Yeah,
it's hard. You don't know.
You don't know. You never know with Brandon Beane, right? He's one of the more aggressive GMs in the league when it comes to drafting. If he sees a guy that falls, maybe pick 21, 22. If they like Mike Green and he passes the test, off the field. I know there's some stuff there with him, and they're willing to move up for a guy like him. That's not surprising. He's gonna find a guy and he's gonna target him. But most of the time, the Bills don't have first round grades on 32 players. They have it on usually 20. 25.
Yeah, it's going to be a smaller number this year.
It definitely is, and I think we did have a lot of picks, but it's back to the same point we've been repeating. You just want those extra at bats. We're talking about a team that's in a championship window. You want those valued rookie deals, and this is what we're doing. We're trying to team build for the Buffalo Bills the best we can by taking guys that have upside and that can provide value and start and fit a role on your 53-man roster, while also being cheap and effective.
Right.
Dude, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on. This was great. This really was a lot of fun. And I mean, what do you got going on coming? I know it's a busy week for you, but what do you got planned for the draft week coming up?
Yeah, so next week, Monday, I'm looking at, I'm going to drop my lengthy 2-round mock.
Okay.
And then that's for every team in the NFL. And then, of course, I'll be dropping a Bills mock as well, a 7-rounder for the Bills. So there's just a lot to get onto. I'm still kind of scrambling. There's a lot of work to be done before next week, Thursday.
Busy, man.
It with the draft, there's just never enough to be learned up here, bro. You can just keep learning and learning and learning. And then you learn of names and guys that you develop crushes on for the late rounds. You know what I'm saying? So kind of still going through the player Rolodex there, watching some film on some guys that I haven't seen yet. But I'm excited to drop this mock draft. I worked really hard on it. So that's coming probably next week, Monday. And then, man, just getting ready for Thursday. I took off of work, man. News 4 ain't going to see me next Thursday.
No, yeah, it's busy. I'm hoping to get out early myself. It's just such a busy time of the year because, like you said, there's just so much research to so many players you got to learn about, medicals, what they did at the combine, sort of how they project, all that good stuff. And it's a lot of work. It's probably the busiest time of the year for myself personally. But, yeah, we're definitely good. I'm excited to check out that mock draft that you're going to drop here. Dude, Justin does a lot of great things. If you guys want to check him out on Twitter, Justin Cejak is right on the screen for you.
Appreciate you.
Does a lot of fun stuff. He does a lot of draft stuff, and it was a lot of fun collabing with you. And I hope to do it again soon, dude. It was so much fun, and the draft's coming up less than a week, dude. It's fun time of the year.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. If you ever want me to hop back on, just shoot me a text, man. I'm always willing to talk ball with the fellas, man. So thanks for having me again.
Yeah, and everybody, you know what to do. Links will be in the description below. Everybody else, have a good night. Have a great day. Yeah, should be a fun time of the year. Draft's coming right around the corner. So everybody have a good one and go Bills.
Go Bills.